What's up, everyone? I am the devastating Just Cause, and this is DJC Game Studios. Welcome. As you know, it's another edition of Top 5! Damn graphic. Alright, enough of that. TurboGrafx 16. That's right, I talk about the TurboGrafx so much I forgot that I didn't even do a top 5. So, what are my top 5? TurboGrafx 16. Now, when I'm saying TurboGrafx 16, I'm talking about the North American released TurboGrafx 16 unit. I will do a separate one for PC Engine. That's going to be hard. There's a lot of PC Engine games. But for my memories and my happiness that when I got my first TurboGrafx and my first Turbo Duo. Now, I'm going to throw some honorable mentions at the beginning, because that's what I'm going to do. So, Lords of Thunder, one of the greatest shooters, the best looking shooters, with a crazy heavy metal soundtrack. Love it, love it, love it. You heard me talk about it before. I just got to throw that one out there. Let's see. I'm going to have to say this too, and people are going to go, what? But the pack-in game, Keith Courage and Alpha Zones, maybe it's because it was the pack-in one, you know, and I had Bonk and all that stuff, but I'm saying Keith Courage, like, I know your little map screen was kind of weird, but once you got into the action screen, I thought it was fun. I wouldn't say whatever, I liked it. It's on my honorable mention for my memories. But let's get into number 1. Oh, darn it. Number 5. And that is Wise Book 1 and 2. Came on a CD. It was the Turbo CD, so it was all good. Wise Book 1 and 2, or Yeast, as a lot of people call it. I say Wise because I don't want to be like, Yeast, I don't like this game. That's a little humor. Sorry about that. So, here we go. Wise Book 1 and 2 is one of my favorite games on the TurboGrafx, obviously why it's in my top 5. But I'm not a role-playing game person. I don't like RPGs. I barely was a Zelda guy. Although now I guess I appreciate it a lot more. Back then I was all about action, platforming, simple stuff. I was never a big puzzle or RPG guy. That kind of changed, and it also depends on the game, I guess, but for the most part. But this was a fun story, and I think I got into this a lot later on, but me and my buddy really got into playing this one, and it was, we were all hanging out. I think this is when we had the projector screen, and we were all hanging out, and there was a bunch of us, and then the girlfriends would always end up passing out, and then me and him would be like, all right, dude, let's get through some of this story, you know. And whenever we got stuck, you know, we'd look it up, because I mean that's when actually like the phones were starting to become smartphones. When was this, like 2007 or something? 2006, 2007? No, probably 2007, I'm guessing. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. But to the point where you could look up stuff to go, I'm stuck at this part, where could I go from here? And it was kind of the first time I'm like, wow, we're using, like, we can look up stuff on the internet on our phones to kind of, like, see what's... Anyways, it was fun. Got through the whole Wise Book 1, about halfway into Book 2, and to this point, and I've never finished Book 2. And I know there's 3 and 4 too, and I actually have the magic of editing. But this is my Wise 4 Wanderers from Wise, or Yeast. I'm sorry, this is Dawn of Wise. But, anyways, that's fun. I like them. Anyways, what it was just a fun memory for me. It was a cool role playing game, kind of action role playing. But I guess it was something about the story or the timing or the how I found it or had it, and that's my 5. Number 4, and that's Gate of Thunder. That's right. When I got my Turbo Duo, Gate of Thunder was on the 3-in-1 CD, 4-in-1 CD. The 4-in-1, 3-in-1, whatever you want to call it. 3-in-1 oil. Remember that? If you had a squeaky hinge, don't worry about that. Gate of Thunder was an awesome shooter. Talk about a great soundtrack too. Once again, you had the rockin' soundtrack, CD sound. And it was something about like it would be like every time you got a power up, it would be like missiles, laser, blah blah blah, and then it'd be like warning, bosses. I don't know. It was for the 90s. It was a really rad shooter. It reminded me. It was very mechanical. It was very mechanical and machine-like. It wasn't. A lot of shooters get the organics with the aliens and all that stuff. This was more of just machines, and you had like just a steel machine you're flying, and everything was kind of mechanical for this. I really enjoyed Gate of Thunder. I guess it's more or less the visuals and the sounds. The sounds really get to me to this day. But Gate of Thunder, a very, very, very good shooter. That's why it's on my number 4. I really can't say much more about it. It was just, I never won that one. I never won Gate of Thunder. I think I maybe got to, I don't even know what level I got to. I'm going to have to play it again sometime. Once I get a streaming hookup, and wow, that'll be cool. And I can figure out what I'm doing if I become smart all of a sudden and figure out how to stream stuff while showing it. I guess you got to get a capture thing, and yeah, you know me and the interwebs. I don't know what's going on. But once I figure that out, I'd like to stream some Gate of Thunder. Man, why can't I speak? Gate of Thunder. And that's my number 4. And I'm sticking to it. Number 3! Number 3, it's the original game. Although I guess I could say I loved all the sequels as well for TurboGrafx. But Bomberman. Bomberman is cool. What is not to like about Bomberman? Why can't I talk? What is not to like about Bomberman? Because you had, even though this is a duo, I had it for TurboGrafx 16. You had the tap, so you had 5 people playing, and that's what was cool. Playing. Whoa, shoot! Those are a little expensive. Don't want to mess them up. But 5-player Bomberman. Now, a lot of people call it a puzzle game. To me, it's still an action game. I guess it's sort of puzzling. I mean, it's in a grid, but I mean, that's really it. But what's not fun about blowing up, setting a bomb, move it away, it blows up a piece, you get back, blows up, gets farther, but then you got, when you do 5 players, you got 4 corners and 1 in the center, and you guys are all trying to eventually blow your way to each other. To blow each other up, and when you get there, that's how you're supposed to win, and it was just cool. You did blow each other up. It was a simple game, but it was just people were yelling and screaming at the TV, and it really gets the competition flowing. That's for sure. It's very fun, very cool multiplayer. That kind of goes back to what the Amico's bringing back. It's couch co-op. You're going to be on the couch with some people. That's where I was, playing Bomberman. Would have been cool if I had wireless controllers back then, because we all had to be like, all right, how far does your controller? We had like 2-3 a chair and 2 couches. Anyways, but it's a classic. Almost everyone knows Bomberman. They're still making iterations of it now. It's still popular. Great multiplayer. And that was my number 3. Number 2. Boop. Legendary Axe Part 2. Now, from what I heard, this in Japan was called something different, but when they ported it to North America, they say it's Legendary Axe 2. I don't care what the original name was, this game's great. Giant sprite bosses that just look cool. Really interesting monsters for these bosses. kind of creepy gameplay too. You had like zombies, you had the sword, you had that little swoopy chain with a weight at the end of it, grappling thing for long distance, power-ups, and then of course you had the axe, which was the most powerful. Not much reach, but bosses were very cool. I remember the guy with the giant ball that would go back and forth, and then after you got him, that would just keep bouncing this giant steel ball. Then there was this one where you're almost like inside this organic-looking thing, and everything's kind of living and breathing, and then you got to fight this giant like dragon at the end, the snake kind of thing that kind of comes at you. And I remember you get that little that grappling thing. You'd be like pating, 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 hitting it on the head. Anyways, it was one that was fun to me. I just think it was like the creepiest platformer next to Splatterhouse, but that's an all another category. But Legendary Axe 2, try it out, kids. It's brand new at your local retailers right now. It is not. What you all been waiting for? Everybody knows what the number one's going to be. It's one of the things where I went to Toys R Us and I was like, I want to look for something really cool that has cool bosses, because I was always about having a good boss battle at the end, you know. 80s and into the 90s, that's what you just looked for, the graphics, you know. I mean, because the graphics were fairly mediocre then, but you were looking for that next, like, wow, look how big this is on the screen kind of thing. So I remember pulling the slip going, can I afford this one? I sure hope so. But who is this? Zank. And that's my number one, Zank. Yes, Bonk's futuristic cousin, apparently. Don't know how the timeline even works on this one. But basically, he is a cyborg. And he is a cool cyborg, because he flies through the air, shoots exhaust out of his butt, or his shoes. He can also cough up a giant bomb, boom, and do everything on the screen like that. The power-ups are cool. You had a deck of cards, like 3 decks of cards. Those hurt. I've seen people like make those stick into freaking wood. And then you had the sunglasses. I think it was the sunglasses. Yeah, sure. You had the sunglasses, and they were kind of act like boomerangs. And then you had the rocket launcher, which if you held it down long enough would shoot the big rockets, or you would just shoot like hand rockets. Or no, it shot the giant fist out of it, which was really weird with anyways, with blades on it or something. And then you had, what was the other thing? Oh, you can get like really tiny so you can avoid stuff, but you can still shoot in multiple directions. Hit some of the best power-ups, I think, in most shooters. It was just so weird, very cartoon look to it. The art style, super cool. The bosses, humongous. Mechanical, all the way till when you underwater level, it's like a satellite built into a jellyfish with like tentacles, and then you have a piece of pizza that comes alive and tries to get you, and then the original guy is like he looks like the dude from Bonk, but he's like but kind of like an alien. I don't know. It's really cool. There's also some little throwbacks towards at the very end levels, and then a super re-boss fight. Like you fight all the bosses in a row before you get the final guy, and then you got to fight his 2 henchmen and the dude. So, anyways, it's challenging, but it is a great, great game. It plays, to me, flawless. And the cool other thing about it is you pal up. You pick a pal at the beginning, and for that level, at the beginning of each level, and you morph. You collect smiley faces till the giant smiley comes, and then you morph with that friend. So my favorite is the little fat cow. It looks like a basketball, but it's a cow with little udders. And it's named Moo Moo. So when you morph with Moo Moo, you become a milk jar shooting Zank dude that's shooting milk cannons at people. Who comes up with this stuff? Anyways, it was just because it was one of those ones where I went and I had the money that I actually earned myself, went to Toys R Us and was able to purchase it, getting the slip and going, I'd like this game, like I said before. I think that's the memory I have and why Zank is, plus the music. The music's amazing. There's literally a soundtrack on Spotify for Zank. You don't really have that much in old games like that from the 90s. But there you have it. That was my top 5 TurboGrafx 16. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like the new shirts. For everybody watching today, you will not be able to buy any of these, and I am still sponsored by Tab until they run out. Expiration date is in May. Please, I almost fell. Please like, please subscribe. We'll see you on that next one, all right? Right there? All right, you get it. You get it. Show me paint the shelf. Huh.